Songs have been the not-so-secret weapon behind every fight for freedom, every struggle against injustice and bigotry. Yip Harburg. This is the story of one such song. Not just any song, but one that is sung in the United States in public settings more often than any other song except the Star-Spangled Banner. Think seventh inning stretch. It's Take Me Out to the Ball Game. But there is another side to the story, because Take Me Out to the Ball Game was Suffrage's secret song. Let me tell you about Jack Norworth, a successful vaudeville performer in the early 1900s. He didn't become as well known as his wife, Louise Dresser, who went on to star in moving pictures. But in 1907, a reporter interviewed a teary-eyed Louise Dresser. The newspaper headline read, "Louise Dresser declares husband," that's Jack Norworth, "will endeavor to obtain divorce so he may wed Trixie Fraganza." Trixie Fraganza, one of the best-known, most popular performers in vaudeville. Delia O'Callahan took the stage name Trixie Fraganza and became a star performer. Think of the popular female performers of today: Lady Gaga, Madonna, Beyonce, Diana Ross, Judy Garland. That was Trixie Fraganza. And she was a new woman. A woman who spoke her mind and managed her own life. She joined the suffragists and used her notoriety to help organize meetings and give speeches. I do not believe any man, at least no man I know, is better fitted to form a political opinion than I am. Trixie Fraganza was in the public eye off the stage as well as on it. In 1908, she went with a few other hardy pioneer suffragettes to try to see the mayor of New York. But she won from the crowd the only jeers she ever had heard. 1908, 60 years since the first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, and they're still fighting for the right to vote. 60 years! That same year, 1908, Jack Norworth divorced Louise Dresser and married Nora Bayes. He was her second husband out of 5. If Trixie Fraganza was the Lady Gaga of her day, then Nora Bayes was Taylor Swift, Rihanna, Aretha Franklin, Barbara Streisand, Katy Perry. You get the idea. When she decided to make her career in show business, a stage manager suggested she needed a better stage name. Rachel Goldberg would not do. "Well," she said, "my family calls me Dora." "That's good," the stage manager replied, "but how about something a little more sophisticated sounding, like Nora?" "Okay, Nora. Now about a last name, something short and sweet, like a letter from the alphabet." Like Nora, the stage manager was Jewish, so he proceeded to recite the alphabet in Hebrew. Aleph, Bays, Bays, that's it. So Rachel Goldberg became Nora Bayes. As to whether Nora Bayes was a suffragist or a member of the newly formed Equality League of Self-Supporting Women, I don't know. She did appear in Ladies First, a suffrage comedy, and she was undoubtedly a new woman who spoke her mind and stood up for herself. In a contract dispute with Ziegfeld's Follies, she testified, "Mr. Ziegfeld wanted me to wear tights and to sit perched on the back of an elephant. I told him I had never worn tights and did not purpose doing so while on the elephant's back or anywhere else." And she was not just financially independent, she was at the top, earning $2,500 a week in vaudeville. That's $130,000 a year, a great deal of money in 1920, well over $1.5 million today. Her husband Jack was not nearly so highly paid a performer, but he was, in addition, a songwriter. He wrote the lyrics, with the music, in many cases, composed by his songwriting partner, Albert von Tilzer. Albert came from a music-oriented family. When his older brother Aaron Gombinski joined the circus, where he played the calliope and piano and wrote some music, he changed his name from Aaron to Harry. For a new last name, he took his mother's maiden name, Tilzer, and for extra sophistication, added Von. Harry von Tilzer became a songwriter and a publisher. Following this pattern, younger brother Elias Gombinski also entered the music business and became Albert von Tilzer. Albert, like his older brother, was not only a successful songwriter and publisher, he was also a great promoter. Those were the early days of moving pictures in the beginning of the 20th century. The Moving Picture World was a weekly trade paper, this issue from 1908. Note, the publisher, the World Photographic Publishing Company, is located in the home, the center of the moving picture industry, New York. The masthead has an interesting subtitle, All the Film and Song Slide News. Song slides? What are song slides? The magic lantern had been around for more than 100 years, projecting hand-painted glass slides and later photographic slides onto a large screen that could be viewed by many people at the same time. The advent of the electric light bulb, which produced a brighter light than a candle or gas lamp, enabled the slides to be viewed by even more people. Lecturers used the slides to illustrate their talks. The advent of moving pictures presented another opportunity. Early films were presented in vaudeville houses and music halls. They had only one projector, and the movies were only a few minutes long. After showing a movie, the projectionist had to rewind the film, put it away, and then mount the next one, which took some time. To keep the audience entertained, a singer came to the front of the theater and, accompanied by the pianist, sang a song. To further engage the audience, magic lantern slides were projected, depicting scenes from the song. Song slides. Song slide production and distribution was big business. The weekly trade paper, Moving Picture World, happily carried their advertisements. And where were most of these song slide companies located? in the home, the center of the moving picture industry, New York. But with the popularity of song slides came a problem that gave rise to an editorial in the moving picture world. As an adjunct to the moving picture exhibition, illustrated songs are becoming of increased importance. Perhaps the most important criticism is that the slides frequently used do not illustrate the songs. Often they bear no apparent relation to the words or the sentiment of the song. A beautifully colored slide in which the posing of the figures and the general arrangement is beyond criticism, but which bears a little relation to the song, will not attract. The two must go together. Thankfully, some song slide makers were known for the quality of their productions. Here is what the Film Index had to say about one of those producers, DeWitt C. Wheeler. What struck me most forcibly in Mr. Wheeler's illustrations is that he invariably follows the lyrics and at the same time gives a variety obtained by few other manufacturers. To these qualities, Mr. Wheeler attributes his success. The Wheeler firm employs 50 girls whose skillful hands apply the colors. And so it was that in 1908, when Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilzer collaborated on a new song, Albert, the composer, publisher, and promoter, hired DeWitt C. Wheeler to create the song slides. And DeWitt C. Wheeler, needing a female actress to play the part of the main character in the song, didn't hire just any New York model. He hired Phoebe Snow. Not that Phoebe Snow, this Phoebe Snow, an advertising personality for the Lackawanna Railroad. In the era of steam locomotives, travelers expected to leave the train dirtier than when they boarded, thanks to the soot that rained down from the coal-fired locomotive. However, on the Lackawanna Railroad, Phoebe Snow dressed in white, flaunting the fact that the Lackawanna burned clean, soot-free anthracite coal. Says Phoebe Snow, about to go upon a trip to Buffalo, my gown stays white from morn till night upon the road of anthracite. Through this advertising campaign, she became very well known and introduced other rail travel innovations too, such as electric lights and individual paper drinking cups. Fancy that. In 1903, she starred in the film A Romance of the Rail. Dressed in white, she sits outside the railroad station. She is approached by a man also dressed in white. Notice his suitcase says Lackawanna Railroad. They will ride the train together and, by the end of the film, be happily married. You can view the entire film, all 4.5 minutes of it, on the Library of Congress website. In 1904, when the Binghamton Press Club invited her to a reception, 5,000 people waited at the station to greet her. In 1906, she was featured in a Good Housekeeping magazine article, Familiar Faces, where Phoebe Snow was identified as Marie Murray. But her best-known role was yet to come. In those 1908 song slides, she would be cast not as Phoebe Snow, but as Katie Casey. Now, I don't know if Marie Murray was a suffragist or if she joined the Equality League of Self-Supporting Women, but I do know that she got the starring role in Jack Norworth's and Albert von Tilser's song about a new woman. Perhaps when he wrote the lyrics, Jack was thinking about or trying to impress Trixie Fraganza. Perhaps he was thinking about or trying to impress Nora Bayes. In any case, whether he did it conscientiously or not, he wrote a song that, without lecturing or demanding, fostered social change. A song about a woman who did not adhere to a woman's traditional role and restrictions, a woman who stated her preferences unreservedly. She didn't simply follow the man's lead. She was not reluctant to speak out against a male authority if he was wrong. She supported her cause vociferously and encouraged others to do so as well. And if that weren't enough, she was interested in sports. Wow. Here's the 1908 song written by Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilser, with song slides produced by DeWitt C. Wheeler, starring Marie Murray. Katie Casey was baseball mad, had the fever and had it bad, just to root for the hometown crew. Every sou Katie blew. On a Saturday her young beau called to see if she'd like to go to see a show, but Miss Kate said no. I'll tell you what you can do. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Katie Casey saw all the games, knew the players by their first names, told the umpire he was wrong all along, good and strong. When the score was just 2-2, Katie Casey knew what to do. Just to cheer on the boys, she knew. She made the gang sing this song. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. The song slides were distributed to movie houses all across the country, and audiences loved them. They loved the song, and when it was over, they wanted to bring the song home for their friends and family. Of course, they couldn't download an MP3 file. It's 1908. They couldn't buy a CD or a vinyl record. They couldn't even listen to the song on the radio which wouldn't be playing music over the airwaves for another couple of decades. Instead, in the lobby of the theater, they bought sheet music. Back home, family and friends gathered round as they played it on the piano and sang along. There's a copy of the sheet music with Jack Norworth's picture on the front cover, and one with Nora Bayes, and another with Trixie Fraganza. When a copy of the sheet music was purchased with the performer's picture on it, the performer received a royalty payment, so it was in the performer's interest to sing the song, and if listeners bought the copy with their picture on it, they got paid. Albert von Tilzer published versions picturing the many popular performers of the day, so they'd all sing the song. 6 million copies were sold. That would be a lot today when we have about 125 million households. But then, there were only about 20 million households. That means in one of every 3 or 4 households, you might find a copy of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Everyone, it seems, was singing about Katie Casey, the new woman. It was first performed in Vaudeville by Nora Bayes in 1908. Albert von Tilzer did not see his first baseball game until 20 years later, 1928. Jack Norworth claimed he never attended a baseball game until 1940. The song wasn't ever heard at a baseball game until it was sung in Los Angeles at a high school baseball game in 1934. The practice of singing the song during the 7th inning stretch didn't begin until 1977. So, for so many years, why was this song so widely sung? You see, this song wasn't really about baseball. It was about the independent, self-directed new woman who thought for herself and made her own choices. It was Suffrage's secret song. Songs have been the not-so-secret weapon behind every fight for freedom, every struggle against injustice and bigotry. And if you don't know who Yip Harburg was, you should. He gave us the lyrics to many popular songs, not the least of which is the song of the century, Over the Rainbow. But that's another story. This is Sandy Schumann. There is always another side to the story.